Hi, I'm James Murray, founder of James Murray Finance, your trusted business finance broker in the UK. And I'm excited to share today a recent success story that showcases how we facilitated growth for a cutting-edge UK drone operations business. We'll dive into how our bespoke loan product enabled them to import US technology over to the UK, and it's enhanced their overall capabilities and improved their market reach. Hi, Jason.
Hi, James.
So Jason, tell us a little bit about DroneWorks and also why you needed to purchase this equipment.
Yeah, so DroneWorks specialise in drone surveys and inspections for the property and construction industry. It's all about collecting accurate data quickly and safely. The larger or more difficult the area, the better. So large areas of rural farmland, large construction sites, large commercial buildings, perfect for drone surveys. This equipment basically enables us to enhance our capability. It supplements our existing service and enables us to collect accurate data in very specific scenarios, and you can't really do it without this equipment.
And I'm guessing that's why there's a bit of a premium on this particular product. You know, it's not a couple of £1,000 piece of equipment, is it? It's actually, you know, cost a fair amount of money. I think we were talking just over £50,000 in the end.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, compared to traditional photogrammetry-based surveying, this is 3 to 4 times more expensive just for the hardware and software. You then need the drone to transport that sensor around the area. So yeah, it is a more advanced technology. It costs a lot more money, but also you need the software to get that data out of the hardware. So overall, the whole package is a much higher cost than the kit we originally started with. So when I was looking into this hardware, I settled on this particular one from Rock Robotic, which is in America. How did you know what finance options would be available when I'm wanting equipment from abroad?
Well, it's a really good question because there's a lot of different options available to anybody that's looking to purchase any type of equipment, really. You can look at asset finance, you can look at unsecured loans, capex term loans. So there's a few different products available, and also the factor that it was being purchased from America adds another element of complexity. So we then have to look at the different, the type of supplier. Have we dealt with them before? Do we need to use some sort of trade finance? So obviously we had a long conversation at the start, which we were able to establish what was important for you, what sort of amount of cash you could put up front, and work through those different options. As I kind of point out, with an asset like this, they aren't really deemed as a hard asset by most funders. So the terms that you might get might be actually less preferable to a standard business loan. So what I have to do is I really have to look at all of the variables that we've discussed and try and come up with the ideal solution. I think one of the big things here is cash flowing the purchase. The supplier, if I'm right in saying, they wanted a full payment up front before delivery. So that really did then home in on the idea of a capex loan, so the idea of a loan to purchase a piece of equipment. And I think that really then enabled us to then look at different options there. And then I need to make sure that we're offering a product that is going to be meeting your requirements, that it meets the required term, the amount of time that you might keep the piece of equipment, and also that the repayment profile is competitive. And that's when I then looked into the different options across my panel of lenders to be able to provide the appropriate solution.
Before coming to yourself, I was already starting to look into options, and naturally I googled it, went online, came across an online broker with a flashy website, and before I know it, I'd filled in an inquiry and an application had been submitted, and I'd actually been approved very quickly, like a bit too easy. But then I spoke to yourself shortly afterwards and discussed some options, but you were able to give me some options actually much cheaper, and saved a bit of money in fees. So how did you manage that?
Well, I mean, it was a really good case study, really, because yes, you'd used an online brokerage, which there are lots of them out there, and they do serve a purpose. But their main priority is to have ease of access to funding and to make it as low touch as possible for you. Now that's great, but it doesn't normally result in you getting the best product as such. So what we were able to do after we had a consultation is establish that actually the loan they provided, although being very quick and easy, was actually quite expensive. And with a little bit more effort and a little bit more work, we were able to get a much better offering in place via a lender that they may not have thought of. With yourself, we actually access the RLS loan scheme, which is the recovery loan scheme, which has now been replaced by the GGS, which is the growth guarantee scheme, very similar. And that actually gave us also some more competitive funds, but it also reduced your personal guarantee security on your home. So that was also another advantage. But what we find with those sort of schemes, they're sort of like a fixed pricing. So I think we actually ended up saving about £5,000 worth of interest in this new agreement. But there wasn't really a huge amount of compromise, because you'd think, okay, well, if I'm getting that saving, there's going to be a compromising on the timescales. But we actually had it completed, I think, and turned around within a week from the application going in. It was approved. We sent some additional documents out to you. Obviously that helps because you were super quick at sending those back in. And then working hand in hand with the lender, we had the funds released to you by I think the Friday, so you were able to pay the American supplier, and then the equipment was on the boat or on the plane over to the UK.
Yeah, the money was in the bank very quickly. The order was placed, the supplier did a great job, and literally from, I think, inquiry to receiving equipment couldn't have been much more than 2 weeks. And we were able to get that equipment out on a job that was already booked in and start earning that payback.
That's why I do generally always encourage people to seek a second opinion when they're looking for finance, because a lot of brokers will have a different skill set, and I think it's important to understand intrinsically what that business requires, because finance can come in all shapes and sizes. As I say, there's asset finance, there's business loans, capex term loans, short-term loans, and if you're purchasing something from abroad, that can become quite nuanced as well. So I think having a broker there to sort of hold your hand through the process and make sure that you've got everything that you need is really, really important.
Yeah, I found that really helpful versus the online broker. Very low touch, not very personable, but obviously great if I wanted a very quick process, but they didn't really fully understand my situation or the equipment that I was looking to buy. Whereas when I spoke with yourself, firstly, you just provided advice for free with no commitment, let me know exactly where I stand in the situation and enable me to make an informed decision of which is the best route to go.
There are actually many different ways in which you can fund different types of assets. That can be via a fixed term loan, it can be a short term funding solution, asset finance. You can raise finance against existing assets even to fund a purchase. So there's always a different solution available depending on your business itself. Now obviously with this particular asset, the American supplier wanted payment up front. So we'd have had to incorporate some sort of trade finance had we gone down the pure asset finance route, which means that the finance is secured purely against the asset. There is another way to do asset finance with that type of purchase, which is called a sale and HP back. And that means you cash flow the purchase up front, but then when the asset is here in the UK, we then raise finance against it. And that means that the bank actually hold title against the goods, so it gives them a bit more security. So when they are then financing an asset, it means they know that if you don't make your repayments, they can in theory come and reclaim those goods. Whereas with a traditional business loan, you are not getting that additional security as the lender. So typically you find that they are more expensive, but it is quite nuanced, and each circumstances change depending on the client, your credit history, your performance, and how long you've been trading. How would you say the business has been impacted since you've purchased this piece of equipment and generally integrated it into your business operations?
Well, I initially identified the need for this equipment in my business, and we looked at it from a cash flow perspective and return on investment. But since we've actually received the equipment and put it to use, let our existing client base know that we can now have this extra offering, the actual uptake in the service, it's surpassed expectations, and we've actually recovered a lot of the initial financing costs quite quickly.
What would you advise to other SMEs out there who are not necessarily drone operators, but are looking to grow their business and expand their operations and are considering using finance for that?
So firstly, you need to know your numbers, understand how your cash flow is working as the first stage, because these finance companies aren't just going to give money away. But secondly, do your online research, but then engage with a decent broker, somebody who can act as part of your team, act in your own interest, but give you the specialist advice.
That's really great to hear, because I think when it comes to funding any type of equipment or helping with the growth of your business, it's about partnerships. I really advocate that when you're working with a broker, whether it's myself or another broker out there, there's lots of good ones, but it's to really build on relationships. It's to work with those brokers and really have them as a bit of a Swiss Army knife within your business, giving you options, not selling you finance, but giving you objective advice and solutions to help you with the growth of your company, not thinking in their own interests, but trying to work with you and partner with you. And I'm really excited with the relationship that we've now got and hoping that we can sort of work together and help your business grow over the next 5-10 years.
Exactly. This is just the first stage now. And looking into the future, there's already plans where we may need financing options in the future. And it's good to know that we've got someone on board like yourself. You're not just the finance broker, you're now part of my team. And I can lean on you when needed.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Thanks,
Well,
James.
thank you.